Hey, alley cats. Man, that was a great nap. I wonder how long that was for. I see. Well, guess I gotta make another video again. Let's talk about Mario Kart 7. So the idea for this video has been kind of buzzing around my head since like last September. I'd purchased a 3DS system and I was going through the old games that I had and just enjoying them. I eventually came across my copy of Mario Kart 7 and was intrigued. I was a bit skeptical if I should pay any attention to it at all. My judgment on the game had been a bit critical. Many of my friends weren't the biggest supporters of the game, and the general consensus online seems to be,
"It's f***ing Mario Kart again!"
Man, if funny internet people think it's mediocre, then it's definitely mediocre. Yep, that was my actual mentality going into this game. By the way, no hate to Scott the Boss. His review was actually pretty fair and good. It's just the clip was too iconic not to add. Keep up the great work, Scott. You're doing awesome. Anyway, I eventually just said, forget about it. I'm gonna play this game and see what happens. And I'm really glad that I did, because I ended up really enjoying it a lot. Honestly, if I wasn't so nostalgic for Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart Wii, I would definitely consider this the best Mario Kart. Allow me to show you why. So the 3DS came out in like March of 2011, and it initially didn't do too well. People just thought it was too expensive and it had like no games for it, so that didn't really help it out. Nintendo took note of this in July and decided to cut the price from $250 to $170, so people could actually afford the thing. Nintendo would then address the issue of games with the release of Super Mario 3D Land in November and finally Mario Kart 7 in December. This finally satiated the consumers, which allowed the 3DS to sell over 75 million units, which allowed Nintendo to stay afloat during the Wii U generation. Now, it's ignorant to say that Mario Kart 7 was the game that saved Nintendo, as multiple things went into the success of the 3DS. However, we can say that things may have looked grimmer for the company if this game didn't release when it did. For that, I believe it deserves at least a little bit of respect. Alright, I'll get started with the actual game now since you asked so politely. I know you're just so excited to hear me explain this game to you, and I'm just super excited too as well. So yeah, let's get on with it. So this is Mario Kart 7. Could you tell? So inside we got manual, some expired code, you can take that if you'd like, and some advertisement, and ooh, look at that, it's a cartridge. I say we put it in and see what happens. Nice! I always like this title screen. It'll also alternate between different characters, which is really cool. But yeah, this is sort of like Mario Kart Wii in the fact that it's like all white or whatever, and then there's a character in the background. There's also, if you wait for a little bit on the title screen, a fun little video play. So this is kind of like other tradition, in Mario Kart, they always do this. It's pretty cool, I like it a lot. Alright, enough gawking at the title screen. Let's press A. This is an issue that a lot of people bring up is the lack of single-player content. Many cite Mario Kart DS, which, in addition to having every traditional single-player experience under the sun, also has a mission mode with missions you could tackle in case you're lonely. But when it comes to Mario Kart 7, we don't even have a versus mode. That's reserved for multiplayer. Though I do believe that is a genuine issue. I do believe also that people overblow it a bit. While more modes would have been great, I would rather them focus their efforts on a quality game rather than one with more content. That's where I believe DS failed actually. I don't find the core racing in this game to be a whole lot of fun. I feel they should have focused more on the core racing experience rather than this mission mode, which is not as fun as the main game really. But who am I to say? That's just my opinion and I'm just some stupid internet cat. We also have to remember that the primary concern of Mario Kart is to be a fun multiplayer experience rather than a deep single-player campaign, much to the dismay of us who are sat in the corner by ourselves playing Yoshi's Woolly World. Me personally find the single player to be satisfactory. So long as I can play Mario Kart by myself, I'm fine. And if I get bored, nothing a little bit of playing a different game or touching grass could suffice. We'll touch on battle mode later. For now, let's just click Grand Prix. Huh. This is another thing that a lot of people like to bring up, is the weird character selection. Look, characters don't make or break a game. Mario Kart Wii has an amazing variety of every Mario character you can think of, and people still give it a hard time. As for the weird additions, isn't that what Mario Kart's been doing for the past few games? Rob, Funky Kong, Dry Bowser, all these characters beloved by the community who are just as out of the box as Wiggler and Queen Bee. The only valid argument seems to be the replacement of Waluigi with these characters, which I think is fair but also a bit lame. I think I just fixed the issue people were having with the Mario Kart 7 cast list. Look, I'm a Waluigi fan as much as the next guy, but he's not sheltered. It's not worth tossing a game aside for. Sure, it's a bit weird having Waluigi pinball without him, but whatever. As long as Yoshi's here, I don't care. So now we go on and we pick Yoshi, and then we skip over the kart customization because this video is already going on too long and I want to keep going. And we finally make it to the track selection. Oh my goodness, I'm not exaggerating. This is probably the best Mario Kart track selection out of any Mario Kart game. Much like Wii, I cannot think of a single course, actually maybe one or two, but I can't think of any courses that are new to Mario Kart 7 that I do not enjoy playing. I can't go through all of them here because that would just take way too long, and I know you guys are already getting bored with me, so I'm just gonna highlight a few that I really like. Daisy Hills. Yes, it's because of the goats. No, but this is a really well-designed and feel-good track. It's got a lot of great shortcuts, and I really like the hang gliding section. Wuhu Loop. Yes, it's because of the nostalgia. I think this may be the first track to implement not laps, but sections, which I find really cool. It's also based off of Wuhu Island, which is incredible, and I think that's just a really creative and interesting idea. Music Park. I don't really have much to say about this track, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's actually one of my favorites. It reminds me of Wii Music and it has TikTok clock levels of creativity. Oh, and Mario Kart 8's version is awesome. Piranha Plant Slide. Another one that just gets the theming right. It's super fun to play on. I love the pipe theme. It's super cool. I really like the hang gliding section. Again, ironically, there's a lot of really fun shortcuts in this track. And I think this might be one of the only tracks where I enjoy the underwater section. And the currents are really cool too. They remind me of Koopa Cape, which is like my favorite track. So yeah. Next up, we got Wario's Shipyard, which is by far the most underrated track in all of Mario Kart. While this isn't my favorite track, it does so much so right, and it's just plain fun. It's got awesome shortcuts, incredible music, and an incredible theme. This feels like an updated Airtrip Fortress. It's great. It's, however, easily to forget, as I totally forgot about it and had to add it in later. Still good though. It does need a remake. And finally, we have Neo Bowser City. Hands down, my favorite track in the game. Despite it being a dystopian society, I want to move there. I want to change legal residency to Neo Bowser City. This track is marvelous. The theme of a rainy city gives us amazing vibes, and the music has to be some of the best in the series. The track layer is so fun, and it's challenging, and it's great. It's just so cool. The Mario Kart 8 remake is somehow even better. It's so detailed and cool, words can't describe how great this track is, but numbers can. Let's take a look now at the series staples. The Mario Circuit, the Bowser's Castle, and the Rainbow Road of Mario Kart 7. Thankfully, Mario Kart 7 is some of the most acclaimed cliché classics of the series, outside of the Bowser's Castle, which I will touch upon. The Mario Circuit's your standard Mario Circuit romp, except there's a twist. You can go in the castle. Pretty cool, huh? In all seriousness, this is a great Mario Circuit, and while I prefer others, I know this is a lot of people's favorite, and I can definitely see why. It's a lot more unique than a lot of Mario circuits, and it's pretty fun to play. It definitely shows the quality of this title, and if it's willing to have such a well-crafted Mario circuit. Now onto the Bowser's Castle, which, oh boy, a lot of people have opinions about. A lot of people say it's lame and gimmicky, and not a Bowser's Castle. I would agree it's not the best, as nothing can top Mario Kart Wii's. But I will say it's not as bad as people say it is. It's actually quite good. For starters, the music is fantastic. The beginning reminds me of the Phantom of the Opera. It's really cool. The layout is pretty cool, the only issue being the underwater section. but it's pretty fun to play. I like the hang gliding part, and the beginning reminds me of the double helix, which is kind of cool. For a handheld Bowser's Castle, this is awesome. In comparison to the consoles, however, this is indeed a bit watered down. But we shouldn't compare a handheld to a console now, should we? That's like making fun of a kitten for not being able to run as fast as a full-grown cat. Anyway, this is leagues better than DS. Lastly, we have the Rainbow Road, which honestly doesn't really need defending. This is a good amount of people's favorite Rainbow Road. And out of that, those people, a good chunk of them have it as their favorite track of all time. However, like the Mario circuits, I do prefer other Rainbow Roads, but I can't deny that this is one of the better ones, and definitely makes Mario Kart 7 stand out in the crowd. Again, leagues better than DS. I think that gives a good overview for the sheer quality of the Mario Kart 7 original tracks. I presented a fair number of tracks, but there's still plenty that I haven't mentioned, like Toad Circuit. I don't like Toad anyway, so I don't care. Thankfully though, in addition to the fantastic original courses that Mario Kart 7 has, it also has a fantastic selection of retro stuff as well. While I believe Mario Kart Wii has a fair bit better original tracks, Mario Kart 7 absolutely trounces Mario Kart Wii in retro selection, which is why I believe Mario Kart 7 to have a better track selection overall. Like, look at some of the tracks that they decided to pick. We have tracks like Airship Fortress, Dino Dino Jungle, Calamari Desert, and these are actually well remade, unlike the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pack. They also have some of the best tracks from Wii, like Maple Treeway and Koopa Cape, my beloved. Seriously though, say what you want about Mario Kart 7, but I believe the sheer quality of its tracks makes it high tier alone. There's a reason I spent so long talking about them, because they're truly the strength of this game. Sometimes I do wish, however, that they were made on the Wii U so they can be even more beautiful, but you can only dream. But how does the game control, Allie? I hear you saying. I don't care about these tracks if it controls poorly. To that I say, it controls wonderfully. This is an evolution of Wii, and it feels even tighter than before. I may be in the minority, but I prefer the newer style of handling from Wii than to the pre-Wii version. It's not that other games are bad, far from it. I just find it more fun not to slip and slide all over. Drifting is tight, it feels more fair. Yeah, so handling's good. But we can't talk about Mario Kart 7 handling-wise without talking about what it introduced handling-wise. I'm talking about the gliding sections and the underwater segments. Gliding is pretty fun and allows for great track layouts, though sometimes, especially in the retro tracks, they do shoehorn it in. Now I know how it feels about how the Double Dash community feels about what we did to DK Mountain. But that's fine, because gliding would be later crafted to perfection in Mario Kart 8. Many of my favorite parts in the tracks have been those gliding sections, like in Maka Wuhu and Rock Mountain. The implementation into Mario Circuit 2 was perfect. Gliding was a well worth it inclusion to the Mario Kart formula, which is what I can't really say about the next inclusion. Now, I'm not saying that water is bad necessarily. I actually think it's a great idea. However, I don't think that Mario Kart executes it well. This problem's not exclusive to Mario Kart 7. The way water manipulates the gameplay is not really worth talking about, or even kind of bad. It does have potential to bring a lot of diversity to tracks, but I really think we'd be fine without it. I guess I'm just salty. They flooded the pipe in Koopa Cape. The currents were the whole gimmick of the track. Goodness. Need to get that off my chest. Anyway, that's not fault to Mario Kart 7. It tried something new, and it didn't really affect the game as a whole too much. Oops, forgot about the items. So let's do item speed round. Mario Kart 7 adds 3 new items, the Lucky 7, the Super Leaf, and the Fire Flower. Fire Flower is like a better triple shell, where you can onslaught your foes with wall of fire. The Super Leaf is controversial for sure. It spawns at the back of your car and can flick away stuff. I like it, totally not biased. Lucky 7 is pure chaos. It spawns a bunch of items around you and you can barrage. In addition, we have all the classic items from other Mario Karts, like your shells and bananas, but sadly no new ones from Mario Kart Wii return, which I find very sad, because I like being big. Phew, it's done. Perfect. Let's carry on. To move on from the racing, as there's not really much to talk about other than time trials, which is just time trials, we make our way to the battle mode, which is, contested for sure, as in a lot of people don't like it. We have coin battles and balloon battles, which is fine, and teams or no teams, and that's it. A lot of people say that this battle mode is lacking, especially in compared to other battle modes, which I think is a fair judgment on the game. However, counterpoint, It's about what you make of it, not necessarily how much it is. Despite it having objectively the worst battle mode in Mario Kart history, I think I had the most fun memories with the Mario Kart 8 battle mode than any other battle mode. My friend Pumpernickel and I would turn on bombs only and snipe CPUs from the top of the Toad Harbor awnings. It was a blast. We even knew it wasn't a good battle mode, but we still had a great time. We still even do this to this day. So is Mario Kart 7 really a bad battle mode? Objectively, yes, if we compare it to others. But bottom line, it's still fun. I like the course selection, and so long as Bloom Battles is here, we're fine. I've seen so many people in my youth who are having the time of their lives playing this battle mode with their friends. And meanwhile, I was having fun in the Wii U with Mario Kart 8 and my friends. I don't think a lackluster battle mode is really something to get in a tizzy about when you can still have fun with it. At the end of the day, battle mode is just supplementary to the racing. They could leave it out if they wanted to, but they don't. And they didn't with Mario Kart 7. And for that, I think it should be appreciated, even if you are required to have a time limit. Fix the problem, again. To move on from the single player, we make our way to the multiplayer options that Mario Kart 7 offers. We have both online and local multiplayer options. Now sadly, I couldn't get friends in time for the video, so I will not be able to comment heavily on the local multiplayer. From what I remember, it was pretty good, just a way to play with friends. And if you and a friend had a 3DS, then you were pretty much set for any school bus trips you would take part in. You had your versus mode and battle mode, and it was all around a blast. Pretty good start for the multiplayer. Now to move to online, which, oops, there we go. Still works. Pretty amazing it still does, because I would argue that Mario Kart Wii had a larger online scene. Yet, Mario Kart 7's online has licensed twice as long as the Mario Kart Wii online, and is still ongoing. But I guess the Wii had a much more cumbersome online system. Oh well, I'm glad it and Mario Kart 8's online is still here, so I don't have to pay for NSO. Anyway, Mario Kart 7 has excellent online. You can race against people worldwide or locally or with friends, much like previous games. It's surprisingly pretty good, again carrying the tradition of previous games. I played only one game of Worldwide for this video, because I live in a garbage can, and I have to steal from my neighbor's Wi-Fi if I want to connect to the internet. They don't like me very much. But my limited time playing was a blast. Hold on a second. Phew, much better. Anyway, my experience with the online was great. It ended up being very French, which was spooky. Connection was smooth, it felt like I was playing 3 feet away from these Frenchmen, instead of being halfway around the world from them. From what I hear from others, the online is pretty universally good. I enjoyed it, others enjoy it. I think that's another point for Mario Kart 7. Unfortunately, I ended up getting 8th place. Very sad. Oh well. To move on from the online, we then make our way to... Oh, it seems like we've gone through everything. Well, there's the first person option with tilt controls. There's also a wheel you can get for the game that I do not have. There was strangely an update for the game recently that was figuratively Nintendo sticking their tongue out at modders. I have this pullback Yoshi, and that's it. This game is really simple when you get down to it. It's just Mario Kart, and I think that's awesome. Time and time again, I see people put Mario Kart 7 at the bottom of their Mario Kart list for being non-innovative, playing it safe, not as good as the other Mario Karts. But I think that's an unfair judgment on the game. Nintendo needed a game like this if they wanted to stay afloat last generation. And Mario Kart 7 proved that Nintendo didn't actually need to go crazy with gimmicks to keep this franchise alive, or to stay alive themselves. They just need to keep refining and tweaking and making a genuinely good game. Now, I'm not trying to convince people that they should make Mario Kart 7 their favorite Mario Kart. Like I said before, it's not even my favorite. However, I would like to alleviate some negative stigma surrounding this game. Many people, myself included, forget about the game and assume it's bad because it's not as talked about when the best Mario Karts are brought up. But it really is one of the best, and that's coming from someone who didn't grow up with it. Also, there's a lot of Mario Kart DS bashing in this video, and for that, I apologize. I do think it's a good game. I just see a lot of people put DS on a pedestal and trash Mario Kart 7 for seemingly no reason, other than they haven't played Mario Kart 7 as much. It's also the fairest game to compare to Mario Kart 7, as they're both handhelds. Anyway, I try to be as fair as possible, but I'm allowed to have some personal opinions just like anybody else who reviews this game. Though I do respect the opinions of people who differ from mine. I am of the opinion, however, that there is no best Mario Kart and it's all up to taste. So, what now? I mean, I just wasted almost 20 minutes of your time. I say, play this game if you can. Give it a chance. I'm sure you'll find it very rewarding. And if you're unable to play because 3DS prices are frankly way too high now, or you just don't care, then, I don't know, just touch some grass or whatever you normal people do. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I wish you all a wonderful day, and watch out for red shells. Later, Gators!